at the Kelly Miller Middle School in Northeast D.C., where we're just moments away from Mayor Vincent Gray's State of the District address. Hi, I'm Furman Patterson, and today's coverage is being brought to you by DCN, the District of Columbia Network. Now, of course, we're at the Kelly Miller Middle School, which is in Northeast Ward 7, the mayor's backyard, so to speak, so he's bringing it home this evening. As you look at the sign up there, Kelly Miller Middle School, home of the Lions. As you look out on the audience, you'll see that gathering here are members of the mayor's executive office, their agency directors, DC council members, members of the public, and of course, if you'll look right up, way up in the balcony there in the red coats, that's the familiar city year representing DC's youth today. So tonight, the mayor will be talking about, of course, issues like the economy, like school reform, like the state of education in the district, about public housing, housing for the homeless, about a whole range of issues, including a budget surplus, I suspect. You'll also hear a familiar theme, One City, which the mayor has used for a number of programs throughout the year. For instance, the One City, One Job program, which was for district companies to hire at least one district resident for their agencies. So tonight, as you'll look out on the audience, you'll see people waiting to hear what the mayor has to say about the progress of the city, but also what his plans are for the city. Now, the Kelly Miller Middle School, that's a mouthful, so pardon me tonight, has an interesting history itself. I suspect that's one of the reasons why you'll hear the mayor talk about it tonight. They've had a terrific year, the principal of the school as well as the school. Now, another issue, people have been thinking about the past year and generally what's happened. Residents woke up to things like a new Costco, like Walmart. Even the mayor officiated over the first same-sex marriage at the district building, which was a first. So tonight, people will also be thinking about what they've experienced in the city. So we'll be waiting to hear most of those events tonight. But for now, I'm going to let you pan over the audience to see just who's here tonight. Now, of course, this is a different venue for the mayor's State of the District address. Last year, it was held at the 6 and I Synagogue in downtown Washington. That historic building was the perfect setting for the mayor's State of the District address. But I suspect that tonight, he wants to be in his own ward, Ward 7, where he's lived in the Hillcrest neighborhood for some 30 years. Now, some things that people also may hear tonight is mention of the Skyland Shopping Center. I believe that they'll soon be breaking ground. And finally, after many, many years of that property being abandoned and neglected, it will suddenly have new life. So be watching for that, some mention of that perhaps tonight, but also in the coming weeks to see for yourself that Skyland Shopping Center is finally being reborn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2014 State of the District Address. Please rise and remain standing for the presentation of colors and Pledge of Allegiance by the Columbia Heights Educational Campus Navy Junior ROTC Color Guard.
Colors, halt. Left wheel, march. Colors, halt. Present. Colors. Ready, cut. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bishop C. Matthew Hudson, pastor of Matthews Memorial Baptist Church, for the invocation.
Let us pray. Great Creator, eternal architect, one who has lifted the lien of failure from our past, who has highly appraised the value of our lives, and who has not required a down payment of your limitless mercy. Accept our collateral of gratitude for this occasion that brings us together at this hour. We thank you for the full content of character of the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Vincent Gray, of whom have been chosen to lead us at such a time as this. May the promissory note of his commitment and the lifting agreement of cooperation of his leadership team be continuously crowned with success. Place our hearts in the vault of your truth. If there be any, eradicate and encompass of the discrimination of this city. May our thanks for the blessings and bounties of this table be recorded in the memory bank. And when our mission at this place is finished, O divine President of the universe, may we possess an admission ticket in the invisible city, where the wicked will cease from troubling and the weary will be at rest. We pray this prayer in the mighty, matchless name of the one who leads us and loves us. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop Hudson. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Vincent C. Gray, Mayor of the District of Columbia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I accept. Let me say good evening to everybody, and I want to thank
say thank you to the Navy JROTC Color Guard from the Columbia Heights Educational Campus for helping lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Aren't our young people good people? I want to thank Bishop Hudson also, not only for your powerful invocation, but also for all you do for civic life in our city, and also for your service as the chair of our United Medical Center Board. Thank you so much, Bishop Hudson. I want to thank all the leaders who have come tonight to be with us. I see the council member from Ward 5 is here, Council Member Kenyon McDuffie. I see my council member is here, Council Member Yvette Alexander. I see former Council Member Sandy Allen is here. Thank you, Council Member Allen, for being here. And I see our Chief Judge for the Court of Appeals is here, a longtime friend, and that is Eric Washington. Eric, thank you so much for being here. It's a real honor to be able to be here with all of you, with us in this evening in Ward 7. But before I go any further, and before I thank my host and talk about this wonderful school, I want to address what happened yesterday. Federal authorities who conducted a wide-ranging investigation into years of campaign and election fraud brought a man to justice yesterday. That man sought to, among other things, illegally subvert the election of President Barack Obama and illegally pumped money into 28 district and federal campaigns and elections over the past decade. Federal investigators are now using this man's words to suggest that I broke the law. Consider this. I began my career working on behalf of people with developmental disabilities. I've worked in the Department of Human Services, and then I founded a nonprofit organization to rescue homeless children. In 2004, I was elected to the D.C. Council. The job represented for me a 40% pay cut. But the opportunity to pursue a new path in public service was more important to me than any paycheck. In fact, Covenant House offered me the opportunity to stay there and work because those council jobs are considered to be part-time jobs unless you are the chair of the council. And I said no. I said no despite a pay cut, because I wanted to devote my full-time attention to the people of Ward 7. In 2006, I was elected D.C. Council Chairman. In that job, I eliminated earmarks, reformed the way the council did business, shepherded education reform legislation through the council, and guaranteed that our government continued to take care of our neighbors with the greatest needs. So I ask you, who do you believe? I ask you, who do you believe? A greedy man attempting to save himself? Or me, a public servant who has dedicated my entire career and my entire life to giving back to our communities in the District of Columbia? I've spent my entire life in public service, all of it, ladies and gentlemen, with a clean and unblemished record. Why would I, at the tail end of that, suddenly turn on that life, a life that I've lived openly and honestly? Now, to some in our city, I'm just another corrupt politician from the other side of town. I ask them to look beyond their preconceived notions and instead to look at my record, both as the mayor and especially as a human being. I have given all I have to this city and to its people, and especially to those who are less fortunate. I'm not some caricature drawn up by an eager press corps. I am a person with a history and a track record, a person who has diligently worked to make this city a better place for all its residents. All of our residents, white and black, Asian and Latino, gay and straight, rich and poor, and the haves and the have-nots. I say this to all of you, clearly and unequivocally, I didn't break the law. Welcome, Councilmember Orange. We're glad to have you, sir. Tonight, and Councilmember Bonds, we're glad that you've joined us also. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the many good things that are happening in our great city and how we can make an even greater one. First of all, to Principal Abdullah Zaki and the faculty, staff, and students of Kelly Miller School, I want to thank all of you for hosting us here this evening. We chose Kelly Miller as a location for this year's State of the District Address for a very important reason. We have been working hard to make sure that our public schools in the District of Columbia provide a high-quality education to every student in every ward and every neighborhood of our city. Now, it hasn't always been an easy path, and I think you all know that. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely making progress on that path, and I might say significant progress. We're here at Kelly Miller Middle School because this school is a shining example of that progress. Progress not just in the places we're used to seeing it, but progress all over our city, including right here, Council Member, in the heart of Ward 7. At Kelly Miller, student test scores in math and reading have improved dramatically, jumping by double digits last year. And over the last 2 years, student enrollment has jumped 56%, with even more growth expected next year. And this school is just one example of the tremendous gains in public education that we're seeing all across the district. Contrary to popular belief, we are actually even seeing real improvements at our middle schools. Just a few months ago, we learned that district students improved faster than students in any other state in the country on the National Assessment of Education Progress Test, commonly referred to as NAEP. And our students also showed the most improvement in the country on the Trial Urban District Assessment, or TUDA. The TUDA is a test that compares urban school districts across the nation, so it is a true apples-to-apples comparison. And over the past few years, we have shown major progress, catapulting us over many other big cities in the national rankings. Whereas just a few years ago, we were below cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, and Philadelphia, we've now leapt ahead of them and are poised to keep rising. Just a few weeks ago, at a meeting of mayors across the country, President Obama's Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, said of these results, and I quote, "Mayor Gray and D.C. knocked the ball out of the park." Now, that is especially good news for the district's children, indeed, because it was them who knocked the ball out of the park, and I could not be more proud of our children than I am today. Now, at the same time, we also know that we aren't yet where we need to be or want to be. I'm not wearing rose-colored glasses. We still have a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. But these gains are real. They cut across lines of race, geography, and class, and they are worth celebrating. They prove that we are on the right track, a track that we need to stay on, to double down on, to accelerate on, until every child in the District of Columbia gets the world-class education that they deserve. Now, this nationally recognized progress we are making in education, frankly, is just one of many examples that demonstrate how well our city is doing right now. Just look at the evidence. As measured by virtually any metric, the district is leading the pack. Shortly after I took office, the district's unemployment rate peaked above 11%. Late last month, the U.S. Department of Labor reported the district's latest unemployment rate is 7.6%. That is an astounding 3.5-point drop and the lowest employment rate that we've seen in this city in over 5 years. Now, the decline has been even more dramatic in the parts of our city that were hardest hit by the Great Recession. The latest figures show that unemployment, Councilmember McDuffie, in Ward 5, has dropped from a high of 15% to just under 11%. Councilmember Alexander, here in Ward 7, it has declined from a peak of 18.3% to now just under 14%. And Councilmember Barry, I know you're not here tonight, and we wish you were. In Ward 8, where unemployment once peaked at a shocking, can you believe this, 26.9%, it has fallen an incredible almost 11 percentage points to 16.2%. Now, clearly, it's much too soon to declare mission accomplished, but we are making progress, and none of it is by accident. From day one, we've moved aggressively to create jobs and address unemployment, and we have had extraordinary success. Since I took office, nearly 34,000 private sector jobs have been created here in the District of Columbia. Through our innovative, award-winning One City, One Hire program that was honored by Harvard University, we've connected more than 9,100 previously unemployed district residents with jobs at more than 1,100 partner employers. And we are booming by other measures. after the previous administration spent $750 million of our crucial reserve fund, and they spent it down by half, actually, I insisted on having structurally balanced budgets where we spent only what we brought in, even when it made us make unpopular political decisions. As a result, we've posted 3 straight years of budget surpluses and have rebuilt the district's fund balance to the highest level in its history, $1.75 billion that we have in the bank, ladies and gentlemen. Along the way, we returned $22 million in furlough money that we asked district government employees to contribute when we desperately needed it to balance the budget. When our finances improved and it turned out the money wasn't needed, we rewarded our workforce by returning those dollars to them, all $22 million. Wall Street has rewarded us with higher bond ratings, meaning that we can borrow money more cheaply in order to modernize more of our schools, recreation centers, playgrounds, libraries, as well as our roads and bridges. Those higher bond ratings have continued to boost our reputation as a financially responsible jurisdiction. And our finances are now in such good shape that even during the federal government shutdown, even during the federal shutdown, when we were officially barred from spending our own fiscal year 2014 funds, we had enough money in a special contingency fund that we didn't have to shut down the district government. Over our objections, we were required to submit a shutdown plan to the federal government. So I sent them a shutdown plan. And what it said was, every service we provide and every one of our employees is essential, so we're not shutting down anything, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. In fact, we were even able to help out the federal government by collecting the trash from national parks because they had to shut them down. And when Congress couldn't get their act together, we were able to pick up their slack. And we couldn't have done it without the fiscal responsibility that this administration has practiced. Now, what kind of fiscal responsibility has helped us? What is it that's helped us reach the point where we once again can make important investments in priorities such as affordable housing, investments that help us ensure that the district remains a welcoming home to residents of all means? Let's talk a little bit about that. Last year, I announced a historic and unprecedented investment of $187 million in the district's supply of affordable housing. And I committed to preserving or building 10,000 affordable units by 2020. And we're making such good progress on the goal, we're already ahead of schedule by 2 years. Under my administration, more than 5,000 affordable units have already been completed or are currently under construction, with thousands more in the pipeline. Now, to me, that's success by any measure. Recently, some have suggested that when I took office, I simply inherited a steaming engine that was already chugging along, that the district would be booming now regardless of whether or not I was in office, that I have just coasted along. But I think we know better than that, don't we? And while I'm pleased to be able to acknowledge the contributions of my predecessors, let's not forget recent history. When I came into office in 2011, unemployment was rising fast. Revenue was dropping, our reserve fund had been spent down by half, and Wall Street had put our credit rating on a negative outlook. There were a number of major development projects in neighborhoods across the district that were either stalled or simply neglected. 3 years later, because of my administration's leadership, these projects are either complete or moving forward rapidly. At the core of our downtown, the City Center project is nearing completion, a decade after it was first envisioned as a redevelopment of the old convention center site. Without the $702 million in funding that my administration helped to secure from Qatar, this wouldn't have happened. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. In Shaw, in Ward 2, the historic O Street Market site has been restored and redeveloped into a long-awaited retail and housing complex that includes the largest supermarket in the city, as well as affordable housing for seniors. Even though previous attempts to hold a groundbreaking there several years ago resulted in nothing but a photo op. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. A few blocks away, the Howard Theater is once again a thriving entertainment center, 3 decades after it shut its doors. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. When I took office, redeveloping Walter Reed and Ward 4 was just a dream. Now we've chosen a master developer and are well on our way to making Walter Reed into a vibrant center for housing and commerce in a part of the city that needs both. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. In Ward 5, the shops at Dakota Crossing now feature the district's first Costco, 28 years after that shopping center was first envisioned. It's created hundreds of jobs for district residents and millions of tax dollars that our residents used to spend in surrounding jurisdictions. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. And right here in Ward 7, after more than 30 years of waiting, tomorrow morning, we will break ground on the Skylands Town Center. That's not coasting, Karen. That's leadership. And no, we're not stopping there. We're laying the groundwork for future development all over the city, and especially right here in Ward 7. Just last month, the district began restoration of the historic Strand Theater, which has been closed, get this, been closed since 1959. Think about that, folks. This community asset has been closed so long that, quite literally, a tree was growing through the roof of the building. But no longer. My administration has committed to the revitalization and repurposing of this property in order to better serve the needs of Ward 7 residents. The district's investment in the Strand Theater will not only create a new retail opportunity, but it will also improve the streetscape and stimulate additional development nearby. The Strand Theater, like Skyland, and the ongoing development of the St. Elizabeth's campus in Ward 8 is yet another example of how my administration has worked to achieve results and to translate that into successful, transformative projects that bring development, economic opportunity, and jobs to all areas of the District of Columbia. That's not coasting, ladies and gentlemen. That's leadership. You know, And frankly, our incredible progress has not gone unnoticed. The Economist magazine recently ranked the district one of the world's most competitive cities when it comes to attracting new businesses and residents, just behind New York and ahead of other U.S. cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago, and even ahead of booming international cities like Seoul, Dubai, Brussels, and Frankfurt. And we got it going on, y'all. Gallup ranked us second in the nation last year in job creation, behind only the oil boom state of North Dakota, whose population we are currently gaining on. And the district is not just succeeding economically. While some states have struggled to implement the new health care law, and others have simply chosen to ignore the health care needs of their residents, we are leading the nation in our implementation of President Obama's Affordable Care Act. Our health insurance exchange, the DC Health Link, is thriving and now boasts President Obama among our 30,000 members who's part of the health exchange. Isn't it great to have the president in our health exchange? He didn't go to Maryland. He didn't go to Virginia. He didn't go to Delaware. He didn't go to New Jersey or anywhere else. Right here in the District of Columbia, where he is a member. Now, we worked aggressively to reduce the number of district residents without health insurance, including moving quickly to expand Medicaid to include and cover even more adults. These actions have contributed to the district having the second highest rate of insured adults in the nation. More than 93% of our adults are now covered. And we have the highest rate of coverage for children at over 96% of our children being covered. Now, speaking of children, public school enrollment in the district grew by more than 3% this year to 83,000 students. After decades of decline, we're seeing steady enrollment growth in our public schools. To put this in context, we haven't had this many public school students in the district in over 25 years. That is a vote of confidence in our schools, ladies and gentlemen. And our overall population continues to grow, too, by more than 1,000 net new residents each month. The Census Bureau now estimates that our population includes 647,000 people living in the District of Columbia. Our city has not had this many residents since 1979. It's a long time ago. Now I could go on and regaling you with a litany of other numbers about the progress the district has made recently, like the increased number of police officers. We're now over 4,000 police officers in the District of Columbia for the first time in years, or the faster pace at which we are getting treatment to those diagnosed as HIV positive, and the falling number of new AIDS cases, or our 40 new Play DC playgrounds, or the incredible progress we're making to ensure the district is the most sustainable city in America. In short, ladies and gentlemen, the state of the district is strong. Now, I tell you this, the district is a lot stronger today than it was just 3 short years ago. And frankly, it may be in the strongest place that it has ever been. Now, I can't help but feel proud of all the progress we're making as a city on so many fronts. We can't be afraid to celebrate our success either. But neither can we turn a blind eye to those who are not yet sharing in this progress. We still have major hills to climb and major challenges to be able to tackle. We are a city that is transitioning to a new and more prosperous future. However, as our city undergoes transformational revitalization, whether you have lived in the district all your life, or you are a recent arrival, or somewhere in between, we must remain true to the district's proud history and tradition. It is a legacy that compels us to be unsatisfied with the comfort of our present and to remain hungry for a District of Columbia that is more equal, more just, and more rich with opportunity for everyone who lives here. And so, my friends, I lay down this challenge. We must harness our increasing prosperity to build a stronger, more inclusive city for everyone. But to realize this lofty vision of our future, we must confront head-on the realities of our present. While our schools are growing and student test scores are improving, there are still unacceptable achievement gaps between different social, racial, and socioeconomic groups in the city, and, of course, between various parts of our city. For us to realize the promise of our city, these gaps cannot be allowed to stand. We also must find ways to signal that we are a welcoming city for young parents in which to settle and raise their families. And we must never become the victims of our own success, with booming demand pushing housing prices out of reach of the people who contribute and have contributed to our city's vibrant diversity. And we can't forget the seniors who stuck with the district when our prospects weren't all that bright. We must ensure that our residents are ready to compete for the new jobs that are coming our way. We must continue to focus on expanding development further into our neighborhoods, bringing amenities, jobs, and vitality to every part of our city. And faced with a shrinking federal government, we have to do all we can to continue diversifying our economy and removing unnecessary barriers to starting, opening, and expanding local businesses and creating jobs. Many of these challenges are not new to the district, nor are they challenges that are new to me. I've spent my entire career working on issues of education, homelessness, housing affordability, and equality. Tonight, I'm here to tell you how we will face these challenges and build over the next 5 years on the amazing progress we've made over the last 3. Working together, I don't think there's anything that can stop us. Earlier, I shared the impressive gains that we're making in the education that we provide for public school students. But, especially for children who are not achieving at the levels they need to be, we need to do more, and we need to do it now. And that's why tonight I am announcing that in my fiscal year 2015 budget that I will transmit to the Council next month, I will propose an additional investment of $116 million in public education. Your timing was good, Councilmember Graham. Now, these additional funds represent the next phase of school reform in the district. We must take another giant step forward to tackle the unacceptable achievement gap that I spoke to a little bit earlier. This historic new investment will include, for the first time ever, dedicated funds for our neediest students in the form of an at-risk weight, meaning school leaders, both DCPS and charters alike, will have the resources necessary to implement proven strategies that boost outcomes for children growing up in poverty or facing other challenges that are holding them back. For example, DCPS will use the additional funds to implement longer school days in the 40 lowest performing DCPS schools. And this will not be simply more time in school. With this funding, we will implement and expand programs to give students the comprehensive academic and enrichment programming that will allow them to meet 21st century learning standards. Regardless of enrollment numbers, every DCPS middle schooler will be able to take algebra, a foreign language, art, music, and physical education. This extra investment in public education also will enable us to fund expanded access to technology and blended learning, continue our laser-like focus on making sure there is a high-quality teacher in front of every classroom, and ensure that all DCPS middle schools have access to the level of rigorous programming that exists in our most sought-after public schools. See, Chairman Mendelson has joined us, and I know that's music to your ears, Chairman, because your daughter is a middle schooler, is that right? We also will narrow the resource gap for students who historically have been underfunded, including middle and high school students, English language learners, adult learners, and students in our alternative schools. Also, our public education investments will not be limited to the K-12 system. We will add more resources to strengthen our early childhood education programs, which already lead the nation, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody knows me, you know how passionate I am about early childhood education, including pre-K, because research proves its clear benefits to our children's development and to longer-term success down the road. Babies are born learning. The infant and toddler years represent a period of rapid brain development that sets the foundation for future growth and development. The evidence of this is absolutely indisputable. Thanks to legislation that I authored, working with a number of folks in the community. I see Barbara Lang out there. I see Carrie Thornhill. And I know there are others who worked with me to help make this happen back in 2008, 2009. This is when I was chair of the council. And over the past several years, the district, I think, has done an excellent job of getting our 3- and 4-year-olds into pre-K programs. "92% of District 4-year-olds and 70% of our 3-year-olds are in school all day, every day." We've been cited as a model for the rest of the nation by child advocates like Marion Wright Edelman and, of course, by our own President Barack Obama. But we can and we will do more. Our initial focus has been on getting more kids into early childhood education programs, but we're now turning our attention and our investment to improving quality. We must grow the supply of high-quality early learning opportunities for children from birth to age 3, so that more children, especially those from low-income families, can develop and learn and be prepared for the transition to pre-K. With additional investment, we will raise the bar on quality for our infant and toddler programs. I know that's music to your ears, Bishop Hudson, because your family, you do a lot of work at Matthews in early childhood education. In fact, I think you have an accredited program there now, nationally accredited. So we're glad to be able to see what you're doing with the very youngest of our children. Now, to ensure the health, learning, and development of these very young children, we will be the first state in the nation to require all subsidized child care providers to meet the rigorous Early Head Start standards. And it won't be just requiring it. We're going to help provide the resources in order to make that successful. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is that with these new investments in public education, we will make sure that our schools have the resources they need to help every child succeed in the District of Columbia. Another way we will support our youngest children and their parents is to make life a little bit easier for new parents. Giving parents the ability to bond with their babies is part of what sets children up for success. I began paying attention, very close attention actually, to the subject when a member of my own staff recently had a child. I was actually shocked and frankly somewhat embarrassed to learn that the district government didn't offer paid maternity leave. In fact, our current policy forces new mothers to go on what's called short-term disability to get just a portion of their salary after having a child. Isn't that a terrible way to describe the joy of bringing a child into the world? A child is not a short-term disability. A child is a long-term gift and a precious asset for parents and for the city. When I did more research, I was actually appalled to learn that most cities and states likewise offer woefully inadequate parental leave programs. Even the federal government doesn't offer paid parental leave. According to the National Partnership for Women and Families, nationally fewer than 12% of private sector employers offer parental leave. This is a wrong that must be made right. So tonight, I am announcing that the district government is going to set an example. We're going to lead, and I'm asking others to follow. This month, I will propose legislation that will, for the first time ever, establish paid parental leave for District of Columbia government employees. If approved by the Council, district government employees with new children will receive up to 6 weeks of paid parental leave for a parent designated as the primary caregiver and up to 2 weeks of paid parental leave for a parent designated as a secondary caregiver. So I guess if both parents work for the district government, they'll both be off for 2 weeks. We also will allow folks to use their annual and other leave to supplement this new benefit. Furthermore, I challenge the federal government and the district's private employers to do what we are proposing to do. Go review your own parental leave policy and make sure it is at least as generous as what the District of Columbia government is doing for our own employees. In a city like ours, where employers are competing for the best talent and where we pride ourselves on being progressive, it's just the right thing to do, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? And it's another way of being child-friendly and family-friendly. A place where young families want to be and want to remain. Now, it's no secret that many in our city are being squeezed by the increasing demand for housing. Housing prices are going up across the entire city. For many homeowners, this is a good thing as they grow their family wealth. But it comes with a downside as well. Earlier, I mentioned the historic $187 million commitment I made last year to preserve and build 10,000 units of affordable housing by 2020. As I mentioned, we are well ahead of schedule. In fact, we project a total of nearly 12,000 new or preserved affordable units by 2020. Now, I can say confidently that no other city in America is making this strong of a commitment to affordable housing. And the good news is that it's working. A recent Urban Institute report on affordable housing in the nation's 100 largest counties found that the district has the second highest rate of affordable housing per eligible person in the country. And just so you know, we have 11% of this region's population, but we have 54% of the affordable housing in the region located right here in the District of Columbia. Now, we're making good progress. We're making good progress. However, with the district's diverse character hanging in the balance, this is not the time to take our eye off the ball. We must do more. The demand is too great, and there's no let-up in sight to the booming growth the district is currently experiencing. That's why tonight I am committing myself to another $100 million investment in affordable housing. I will propose that the vast majority of these funds be deposited in the Housing Production Trust Fund. But I will also propose dedicating some of it to provide, Councilmember Bonds, to provide tax relief to low and middle income seniors who are 70 years of age and older and who have lived in the district for at least 20 years. Ensuring their housing remains affordable is a tangible way that we can show our elders the respect and appreciation they deserve for helping this city through its dark days. You know, but even as we rightly focus on building more affordable housing in the coming years, we can't forget the most vulnerable among us right now. In January, at this year's point-in-time count of our residents who are homeless, I was pleased to announce my commitment to end chronic homelessness for our veterans by 2015. Isn't that the least that we can do to honor those who have made so many sacrifices in service to our country? Come on, y'all, give it up for our veterans. Those are the people that have saved us, all right? That's not just a promise. Our work has already begun. Last August, a team of D.C. federal and community agencies convened to take on a short-term challenge to house homeless veterans in the district. In just the first 100 days, the team has been able to house 207 district veterans, 96 of whom were chronically homeless. I'm committed to leveraging federal funding and dedicating the local dollars necessary to support this effort. By the end of next year, we will end chronic homelessness for the district's veterans. Now, when it comes to combating homelessness, talk is cheap. Actions matter. On my watch, spending on homeless services has increased by 41%, and local funding for permanent supportive housing has increased by 127%. We now spend more than $120 million a year to help people who are homeless. But frankly, we need to do more. And not by throwing more money at the problem, because the money is there. I have devoted much of my career to helping, serving, reaching out to people who are homeless. I know more than most how complicated these issues are. One thing I know for certain is that a shelter is no place to raise a child. I also know the only way for a child to avoid growing up in poverty is for her family to enjoy the dignity of self-sufficiency. Government assistance will never be enough. We have to redouble our efforts to move families out of shelters and into apartments faster and with the necessary supports to get them standing on their own 2 feet. Let me say this. This is not, as some have suggested, that this is tough love. It is the only approach we know that works. And we're having success with this approach. Through rapid rehousing and other supports, over the last 3 years, my administration has helped to transition more than 1,200 families from shelter or short-term housing to permanent housing. Now, what's limiting our capacity to help even more homeless families get back on their feet is our ability to identify additional apartments in which to place them and to provide families with the life skills and supports needed to help them overcome the obstacles in their path. Tonight, I'm proud to announce 2 efforts that will be working in tandem that will address both of these challenges. First, my administration will partner with the Community Partnership for the Prevention of Homelessness and the Transitional Housing Corporation to launch the 500 Families, 100 Days campaign. As the name suggests, between now and June, we will identify and lease at least 500 apartments for homeless families using either rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing vouchers. This is a call to arms, ladies and gentlemen. It's a call for everyone to do their part. Government, housing intermediaries, banks, foundations, developers, landlords, realtors, and our faith community. Help us identify appropriate apartments for the campaign. Help a homeless family find a home. Through informal outreach, a number of landlords have already stepped up to the plate to offer blocks of apartments. For example, one gentleman with Novo Development has offered the use of 20 apartments, and Melissa Steele at E&G Group has offered 48. That's 68 apartments right there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank them and others for doing their part, and I think we can make this. Now, if you know of units you could contribute to the campaign, I ask you to let us know by emailing us at housethehomeless@dc.gov. Housethehomeless@dc.gov. Now, equally important is identifying housing. And equally important to doing that is providing these families with the unwavering hope, love, guidance, and encouragement that they need to succeed. Government can only do so much. And that is where the district's vibrant faith community can really help. I have asked the Mayor's Interfaith Council, made up of representatives of our city's diverse faiths, to join with us to launch a program we're calling One Congregation, One Family. I ask each house of worship in the district, every church, synagogue, and mosque to take on one family and provide emotional, social, spiritual support to help them succeed in getting on their feet and remaining on their feet. We will help them get housed and help them qualify for key basic benefits. But we know that they need loving and caring support as they tackle the tough challenges of becoming and remaining independent. This model is based on the belief that it takes a village not only to raise a child, but even more so to support a struggling family. By partnering with the faith-based community, we can engage the tremendous healing power of faith. By bringing to the table all the different resources needed to tackle this thorny problem, government, community-based organizations, the private sector, and the faith community, I'm convinced that we can get this done. An integral part of making the district more affordable not only includes that we have more affordable housing, but also that we have more good jobs, and that our residents have the ability to compete for them. That starts with having a solid workforce development system, a first for our city. And that must include giving our high school students the skills that they need in order to succeed. As I've said many times, one of the biggest, if well-intentioned, biggest mistakes made a generation ago was to eliminate vocational education from our schools. It's time to bring it back, but update it for the demands of the 21st century. Now known as career and technical education, this innovative model allows workforce development and education providers to offer opportunities for our young people to develop the skills that will prepare them for 21st century careers. Last year, I created the Career and Technical Education Innovation Fund. This fund provided seed money to high schools to engage in a year of planning. I am pleased to announce that this coming August of 2014, the district will open 9 career and technical education academies run out of both DCPS and charter high schools. These academies each will serve 200 to 300 students a year, and they will equip students to compete for jobs in our fastest growing sectors. Another critical driver of our workforce development system is the University of the District of Columbia's Community College. With the additional investment that I will propose, the community college will serve an additional 2,000 residents on top of the nearly 3,000 a year it currently serves. And they will work to prepare these folks for the 5 high-growth career pathways: healthcare, construction, hospitality, transportation, and IT office administration. And we have to do everything we can to encourage further job growth in every part of the city. For instance, we're working hard to urge new businesses to set up shop in neighborhoods beyond our booming downtown core. As I mentioned, tomorrow we will break ground on the new Skyland Town Center here in Ward 7, and next week we will at last break ground on the Southwest Waterfront Project, a $2 billion initiative. A $2 billion initiative that will reclaim and reimagine an entire district neighborhood. This is yet another project that some thought might never come to fruition, but we are getting it done, ladies and gentlemen. These mixed-use developments will provide housing, jobs, amenities, and perhaps most importantly, vitality to neighborhoods that need it. Last month, we announced the Forward 8 initiative, a little play on words, Forward 8 initiative, to encourage the establishment and growth of homegrown businesses and to train Ward 8 residents for new careers. Next Monday, we're launching a parallel initiative tailored to the needs of Ward 7. We're calling it Started in 7, and it will offer a week of training sessions, seminars, demonstrations, and other activities related to business development and career training. Started in Ward 7 will also feature other arts and cultural events in locations across the ward as an opportunity to showcase the rich opportunities to be available to entrepreneurs here in Ward 7. The district is already one of the fastest growing cities in the world for tech companies and venture capital investment. And we are doubling down on our efforts to nourish the district's own homegrown tech sector. Last week, many of you may know this, last week I launched Digital DC, a marketing campaign, grant program, and technology district in Wards 1 and 4 that will stretch from Mount Vernon Square north to Petworth. This initiative will help us realize our vision of the district as the East Coast's leading center in the innovation and tech economy while creating thousands of high-quality jobs. Now, all of these efforts are important and will help us continue to diversify our economy and reduce our reliance on the federal government as the major driver of our economy. But if we want to make it as easy as possible for businesses to start up, grow, and create jobs right here in the district, a major hurdle still remains. We have to find a way to meet one of the major goals of our 5-year economic development strategy, making the district the most business-friendly location in the nation, Barbara. As our DCRA director, Nick Majette, told me once, it's a running joke for years that our agency, which deals with business licenses and permits, DCRA, stood for Don't Come, Run Away. Now, folks, I'm committed to changing not only that perception, but that reality. That's why last year I named a Business Regulatory Reform Task Force. This task force is composed of equal numbers of private sector leaders and government officials, and I challenge them to develop recommendations to streamline the licensing and permitting process and to identify outdated or overly burdensome laws and regulations impeding economic growth and job creation. In just a few days, by the 15th, in just a few days, I will receive the task force's final report, and I look forward to acting quickly on its recommendations. But there's one recommendation they've already shared with me, and I'm not waiting to act on it. Tonight, I'm excited to announce that we're going to create the One City Business Portal. For the first time ever in this city, maybe anywhere. If nobody knows any different, I'm claiming it. For the first time anywhere. For the first time ever, this portal will unify in one website the licensing and permitting functions of 8 District of Columbia government agencies, creating a user-friendly, one-stop shop experience for business owners. It's hard to overstate just how much this single action will alleviate burdens on our businesses and eliminate barriers for entrepreneurs who have a good idea, who have a strong work ethic, and of course have a passion to build a business right here in the District of Columbia. My friends, that is real progress. And it's the kind of real progress we need to keep making to ensure the district's economy is stronger and more diverse for years to come. And by growing our economy, we are able to afford the new investments that I've talked about extensively tonight without raising taxes in the District of Columbia, which we're not going to do. That is one of the many reasons I've made a priority of building a larger, more resilient economic engine for the District of Columbia. I know that the steps I've talked about tonight make up a long list, but they represent, frankly, only some of our administration's work that builds on the dramatic success the district has experienced in the last 3 years. I could spend hours talking about the many other ways we are working hard to bring the district forward, how we're working smarter, how we're working to improve how the district serves its residents. They are initiatives like our sustainability plan, becoming an age-friendly city, taxi cab reform. How do you all like the new color schemes for our taxi cabs? Streetcars and bicycles, making our city safe, strengthening special education capacity in our public schools, reducing our foster care roles because we are building and supporting families, Brenda, getting troubled youth on a course of a better and more successful life, reducing, Dr. Garcia, infant mortality, building a primary health care system in some of our most underserved areas, and we will, in just a matter of days, open a new clinic, the third one we have in the last 18 months, all on the east end of this city, to be able to promote and develop a real health care system. And Alan, reforming the procurement system of the District of Columbia, the way in which the government buys goods and services for our residents. And I singled out our city administrator because he's worked so closely with our director of the chief procurement officer to bring this to fruition, and we're about ready to roll on that. You know, and there's so many more. Some people joke that I'm enamored with the details of public policy, and some would say that I get down in the weeds. And the truth be told, they're probably right. I really do enjoy governing. I enjoy being a hands-on mayor because it gives me great privilege. It gives me the great opportunity of working tirelessly to make a real difference in the lives of real people. It means making a real difference in the lives of a young family across the street by improving their children, you know, and the way they interact with their children. It means the school that their children go to, or the senior who sits on a pew, your pew at the church, by making sure that there's an affordable space to live in safety and dignity, or the smart young entrepreneur around the corner with a great idea for a new business who wants to found and grow his company or her company right here in our amazing city. Absolutely love the District of Columbia with all my heart. The district is my home. I was born and raised here. It has been the focus of my entire career and is where I raised my own family. I'm not ready to stop working hard to make this city an even better place for everyone. I ask you to join me tonight. Let's join hands together to keep the district moving forward together. As everyone knows, I believe passionately in the vision of the district as one city. One city is an aspiration to be a place where geography does not define your future, a place where hope and prosperity is a reasonable goal for everyone. It is a place within our reach, my friends. I hope you'll work with me to get us there, so that we can become one city with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the District of Columbia. Thank you all very much.
for the deliverance of the benediction given by Imam Talib Sharif of Masjid Muhammad. Please welcome Imam Sharif.
Let us end as we begin with Almighty God. Let's pray. Almighty God, the merciful, so merciful, the wise, the most high possessor of greatness, we thank you this evening for listening to our wonderful mayor, and right off the bat we want to pray for his health and well-being as he has just delivered to us the good news about the health of this great city, this District of Columbia. As we've heard that our district's housing market is strong, the continuing strategic investments in the public infrastructure, strong and progressing, improving educational opportunity and achievement to sustain confidence in our district schools, sustainable DC initiatives, transportation improvements. We've heard of our city's financial health and that our economy continues to improve and is one of the strongest of any in the nation, thus contributing to advancing the commitment to getting our unemployed citizens back to work as the city is working, so that their time and talent will be used to help strengthen and build the city in which every resident is welcome to participate and compete with the best of its populace to make it the model for the nation. Investing in the people, as our mayor said, for any time you invest in the people, you help lift them up to the point where they discover the best in themselves, their potential, their own worth, and subsequently, those people become not only a healthy, powerful resource to themselves, but also to this great city where they claim citizenship. All significant advancements towards bettering the critical circumstances affecting the future of the citizens of the district. As our city continues to grow and become younger and stronger and more diverse, in acknowledging you, God, you who created us all and cares about us all equally. As our mayor said, we continue to care for, and we ask that you bless this city to be reflective of e pluribus unum, the many diverse, wonderful, beautiful expressions of human life that have and are contributing to the beauty and strength of this district. Bless the current and the future leaders of this city, for they stand upon the souls of the past and the present residents, those who've invested in and have helped to sustain and lift up our city. Bless our city leader, bless our mayor, to have always the right perception of the city, that first of all, this city is a gift from you, God, and under you, Almighty God, we are responsible for how we treat everything. Give our mayor and give our leaders understanding of the things they do not understand. Give them more strength and patience and love for all and for each other. And may you bless them and bless our leader to always be concerned, as he's shown us today, for the betterment of the city and its citizens. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2014 State of the District Address. Thank you for attending. Have a good night.